I'm joined by the Executive Director of Future for Kenya Foundation, that is Cyprian Nyamwamu, and he certainly has some compelling reasons to the cause of what we're facing. What is the issue that's causing this particular unrest?
Thank you very much, Mark, for having me. And I want to go straight and say that there are three main reasons that explain what you're seeing in school at the moment. The banning of schools brings out a governance crisis, a leadership crisis, and a parenting crisis, which has been triggered by the Matiang'i rules. What Matiang'i, the CS for Education, has done is that he has introduced rules that have disrupted the exam cheating networks that are actually very well established across the country. The introduction of rules have been opposed by school administrations, by school boards, and the way schools banning has been going on tells you that there's no way 70 schools can be burnt down without a single casualty. Where it started from in Iterio, you saw that about more than 4 dormitories were razed down to fire, but there was not a single injury, meaning that students know about this, the administration knows about it, and you will not be surprised that actually parents could be knowing about what's going on in these schools.
So you're saying it's actually 75 schools reported so far,
that's the point.
And no casualties. So you read an orchestrated move here,
completely,
and perhaps a collaboration with the teachers, the students, and even the parents.
And even the parents.
But that's quite the blanket statement to draw for 17 counties that have reported this issue.
Exactly. So that's why we have to look at the governance, the leadership, and the parenting problems that we have in this country. I have to say that when I saw Professor Lukoya Atwoli speak about the systematic, coordinated way the schools are banning,
that's right,
6, 7 schools sometimes on one single night, tells you that parenting in this country has produced the kind of students who actually don't care about what's going to happen tomorrow. If we banned schools when we were in school, these boys and these girls would not be having schools to go to today. So it tells you that there's a governance problem which is about lack of accountability, lack of management, transparency within schools, and therefore teachers in most cases are actually collaborating with these students to ban these schools. And I think an investigation more than a commission of inquiry is what is required in this case.
Are you making this allegation on a hunch or with evidence? Because that would be quite the indictment on the teaching fraternity, who do quite a respectful job across the country.
And I've not spoken about teachers. I've spoken about the school administration.
Yes, but you say teachers would be colluding in this.
Principals are the administrators and they happen to be teachers. But we need to put it at the doorstep of the principals of schools. Teachers may be innocent in these cases, but definitely the principals and the school administrations must be working with this. And you have asked whether it's out of a hunch or some information. We have a nationwide network that deals with accountability.
Future for Kenya Foundation.
Future for Kenya Foundation. We have a nationwide network of accountability, and we work and live in many counties across the country.
So there is evidence to tie this to the principles?
Completely, and we are of course going to speak to the commission that Matiang'i has set up to inquire into this. But actually this tells you that our CID, our Criminal Investigations Department in this country, is long ago dead, because by now we would be having a lot of people giving us evidence if what we are hearing from parents, from former school teachers, we have even been speaking to former principals, is anything to go by. So there's a governance problem, there's a leadership problem, and definitely I was saying this morning that these boys who are banning schools today were 9 years ago, in 2008, when there was a nationwide post-election violence crisis. And they looked at their parents, ban roads, ban schools, ban supermarkets and everything else. And the culture in this country on how we respond to each other is that we don't like dialogue. But the examination cheating network that has been disrupted this year explains why this year, not another year, we have had more than 75 schools banned within a matter of weeks.
So let me get this straight. With the 75 schools across 17 counties, you would say that it is the underlying issue here is the examination cheating racket that has been disrupted.
That's right.
So you have evidence to this that you can supply and bring forward to the Education Ministry and others?
All the information we have, we are going to supply it to the Matiang'i Commission, because we have spoken to people who know things about what's happening in schools. Some school principals who have been pilfering money and stealing are banning schools so that they can be able to cover their tracks. So all this is going to come forward, and we are going to give it to the commission because it is nationwide, it is well coordinated, and the disruption of the examination cheating network is probably the reason why this year you've seen a nationwide, collaborated, well coordinated burning down of schools.
Well, now you say probably.
Not probably. Okay. It is the what you call trigger, because every time you must look for the trigger if you are going to establish the reason for this.
All right. Well, someone would say we have an 8-member committee or team that has been tasked to look into the troubles that we're facing right now in schools, and they have 30 days. What are the recommendations that you throw their way?
Two principal recommendations. First of all, the problem with this kind of commissions is that they are never made public and they are never implemented in a way that is plausible. So you have to remember that way back in 1993, President Moi actually set up what he called the Devil Worship Commission.
All right.
Yeah, so these reports are never implemented. They are never even made public. So the first recommendation is that we have to call on the parents of this country to properly parent children. The crisis we are seeing in schools is a crisis of parenting. So while we are pointing schools at Jogo House and we are pointing fingers so and so, it actually needs to look at us as parents, because it's parenting that has collapsed across the country.
All right, so parenting, you're throwing that at the 8-member team too?
Completely. And on this, we're calling on the CS Matiang'i to bring on President Kenyatta, because President Kenyatta needs to stand and look at parents and say, let us cooperate and let us parent children in this country. This generation of children are not being parented. That is why those are people's sons and daughters who are burning down libraries and schools and dormitories without caring that millions have been invested and their children who are going to be in those schools 5 years' time from today.
But let's be fair. You don't think the parents care that this is happening, because it will be thrown back to them to actually foot the bill of the damage in various schools. You're a parent yourself.
I am.
You wouldn't want to send a school.
Have you had a nationwide outcry by parents? You've not. Parents in this country, we are the problem. We really have to look at ourselves and say, who is giving principals money to buy examinations?
All right.
It is parents. We are cheats. This country, we are going to have to, this is a bigger problem than Jogo House, is a bigger problem, because our children are in school and we are not treating them and bringing them up to be responsible people.
Okay.
And this is a bigger thing that Matiang'i and the president needs to step in.
All right. Hopefully the parents have heard, and you're a parent yourself, so you've thrown the challenge back to yourself as well. Thank you very much, Cyprian Nyamwamu, the Executive Director for the Future of Kenya Foundation.